You'll see it start as soon as it's ready, but okay, here we go. 3, 2,
Okay.
there we go. Hi there, good afternoon. I'm Sandy Casella with Casella Homes Real Estate, and today is our very first on the flip side with Diana and Sandy. This is Diana Lizarazo, and she is a real estate investor. So Diana and I are going to be doing every week we'll be doing a Facebook Live video around investing in real estate. So if you've ever considered investing in real estate, but you don't know where to start, then here would be the best place to start. If you're a seasoned investor as well, we can also help you. There'll be lots of opportunity for some examples for seasoned investors as well. So I'm going to introduce Diana. She'll talk a little bit about what she does, and then we'll get into we'll lay out how we're going to do this every week, so you know. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. We're happy to answer any of your questions. So Diana, tell us a little bit about what you do and what brought us together here to do these.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, everyone. So yeah, my name is Diana. I'm a real estate investor, and I like to do a whole bunch of things in real estate. So I like to buy properties, renovate them, and either sell them or keep them and rent them out. And I also do private lending on the side. And on top of that, I also have a community that me and Sandy are now getting more involved in together. And we're here to help everyone with any questions they have related to real estate investing.
Awesome. So I think, actually, I'll go over a little bit about how we're going to do this every week. So every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, we're going to go live to talk about investing in real estate. Real estate is obviously a really hot topic right now. And there's lots of questions around that. I get a lot of people. I've been selling real estate for over 30 years. A lot of people who would love to invest in real estate, but don't know where to start. And I think that's the biggest thing. So today we want to talk about mindset. So the first, today will be mindset. Next week, we'll talk a little bit about market analysis and market conditions and what's going on in the market in different areas as well. The third week, we'll be talking about burrs and flips. We can talk about maybe some real life examples or some mock examples of how to evaluate opportunity and how to mitigate risk, how to evaluate your risk and all of that on week 3. And week 4 will be just Q&A, and we'll talk about whatever comes to mind, different questions that we've got throughout the time and things like that. So I think it'll be really interesting for people. And I think there's, because real estate is such a hot topic, it's great. I think there's a lot of people who have questions about investing and how do I invest? How do I become an investor? What are the ups and downs? And is it even the right time to become an investor? So today we're going to talk about mindset. And I think sometimes people will think, well, what does mindset have to do with buying real estate? What does mindset have to do about being an investor? So maybe talk a little bit about that in the mindset as well. You and I connect a lot on that whole mindset level because I think it's super important, and I know you do too. So I'll let you talk a little bit about why you think mindset is important when you're getting into investing as a seasoned investor.
100%. Yeah. So yeah, like Sandy said, mindset is so important to me because doesn't matter how much knowledge you have, really. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't have that confidence in yourself that you have to build, will you really ever take action? You really need to be all there, physically, mentally. You have to be, very, you need to be mentally healthy, physically healthy for you to make for you to have confidence in yourself. What do you think?
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I think mindset is so important when you do this. I mean, mindset's important in anything, right? In any endeavor that you take in life. I think mindset's really important investing in real estate because it is, you're going to get a lot of people who are going to try to dissuade you from doing this. And I think just for me, it's usually just the first house that people buy, right? Or even that first investment property. And once you can get over that mindset of being scared, like what's going to happen? Am I doing the right thing? Is real estate going to go down? Is it going to go up? Like all that kind of stuff. I think once people buy that first property, the mindset kind of shifts, right? And you start to understand a little bit more about how to do this going forward. So it's really important that you have the mindset of that this is going to work, and the confidence that it's going to work, and that you know what you're doing. So I mean, it can be very scary, but I also think people over analyze it, right? Like because they look at a house, let's say, and think, well, this house is $500,000, so I'm buying a house for $500,000. But you're not really. It's not $500,000 that you're putting out. Your investment is basically your down payment that you're putting out, and depending what you're going to do with the house, right? So that's where the whole mindset stuff comes in. I think it's important to understand what you're getting into and how to just move forward with this.
And I would say the consistency too, because I would also say even if you buy your first property, I feel, for example, a lot of people think, oh, I can only afford one house or two houses. But when you start thinking like a real estate investor, an entrepreneur, you start becoming creative so you can continue to buy more houses. And so I think sometimes even there's lots of different levels of mindset, I would say, because like that, you have your first of just the unknown, right? The unknown mindset where you're like, there's a lot of fear behind it. And you're like, oh my God, like I'm going to be getting a mortgage. I'm going to have to be making all these payments and all this stuff that scares you. But then you buy your first house, and then the next one, the next one's like, oh my God, now I'm going to be buying another house. And what, I don't have enough money, or I'm going way over debt. I'm over leveraging. So I feel like you have to probably get into maybe 3 or 4 houses by the time you, I think, feel comfortable, to be honest, with continually buying houses and realizing that it is possible, and not, having those, like, let's say, money mindset where you're scared, you have that scarcity, like I don't have money, for example, or the fear of like buying your first property. So I think there's a lot of hurdles, to be honest, that you have to kind of go over, and like allow yourself to be scared, but don't allow that to stop you. Just make sure that like, this being scared is okay.
Yeah.
But just using that to as an indicator, like, okay, this scares me. Let me figure out why. Let me understand why, so that I can jump that hurdle and continue forward, instead of allowing that to completely stop you and block you.
Yeah, good point. And when you said that, what that made me think of is that if you're in terms of mindset, if you're afraid, it's a good thing. I mean, you should be afraid, right? If every day what you're doing doesn't scare you, you're not growing. So if you're the type of person that wants to grow and learn and do different things, then yeah, you have to be a little bit afraid, because if you're not afraid, it's just really, you're just not growing, you're just
Yeah.
staying stagnant. But there's so many opportunities, and you touched a bit on like a scarcity mindset. So it doesn't matter what type of a market we're in, there's always an opportunity, right? And you have to evaluate each opportunity, and understand that real estate investing, really, it's not a zero sum game, right? Like if you buy a property and you succeed with it, doesn't mean there's less for me to do. There's always opportunities out there if you know where to look and how to find them and how to evaluate them. I think how to evaluate them is a big thing, right? But you do have to have a mindset of wanting to learn, and wanting to kind of step outside your comfort zone.
And just even believing that there are
Yeah.
properties available, right? Because if you think, oh, the market's way too hot right now, there's no houses on the market, your mind's already conditioned to
Yes.
know. So what's going to make you, because your mind governs your actions, what's going to make you act and go, let me look at MLS, let me look at private sales? No, because your mind already said no, so you've made a decision. There's not even any point in me looking, because my mind has already told me no. And our minds are what control our actions.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So so what you think basically, so the way what you think controls how you feel, then how you feel controls how you act, and how you act controls the results that you get. So if you think that there are opportunities out there, you're going to go and find the opportunities, which is what you're saying, I think, right?
Exactly.
If you think there's opportunities out there, you will go and find the opportunities. If you
Yeah.
think there are no opportunities out there, then
You'll
there
be
are no
looking in the
opportunities.
wrong places,
Yeah, you'll be
most
looking at,
likely.
yeah. Plus, you'll be thinking, if an opportunity comes up, you'll think, well, maybe this is too good to be true. So if you don't know how to
Yeah,
evaluate it, then it becomes a problem. So I think
exactly.
that's where mindset comes in, is that, there's, I think we have to understand that there is going to be somebody today or tomorrow who decides to become an investor and becomes an investor and is really successful at it. So if you think that you've missed the boat, that's, I guess, where we're talking about mindset. If you think that you've missed the boat on real estate investing, then that's a bit of a paradigm and a mindset shift. But
Mhm.
there's a lot of opportunities to go around if you know where to look for them and you align yourself with the right people. But I think
Mhm.
sometimes we hear people say, oh, the market's too high and things are too crazy right now. But depending what you're looking for, there's always opportunities, right?
Yeah.
I think
And
even,
just even,
go
sorry.
ahead. No,
I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna say, just even thinking, like whatever you're thinking in your mind is true. If you think the market's too hot for you, again, because you have that in you, it's true for you because you're not looking in the right places because you've already kind of given up, or you're not looking, for the deals in the right way. Whereas if another person, let's say like me, or both of us are looking, and we're looking, like a good example I can give was actually there's a specific guy that was talking in our community, and he's like, don't ever look into MLS because it's way too hot and you have to only look private, which I found it really funny because I was like, I just bought a property in Toronto for a flip, and that deal was way better than what I saw private deals going for.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of funny that because now he's basically limited himself to only looking at private deals. And there are very good deals that come up on MLS. And it's like, you have to keep your mind open to all possibilities because, for example, he's now not looking at MLS because he thinks there's nothing there, right?
Yeah.
And who knows how many opportunities he's missing because he has his mindset to, nope, no opportunities on MLS. There's no point in even looking.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of opportunities that come up there. Even in this market, like there was, the Toronto condo market was and is a great place to buy right now. So, there's always opportunities everywhere. You just got to keep your mind open. But
Exactly.
I'll get you to talk a little bit about your community because the community, there might be people that would be interested in joining that. But I'll talk a little bit about that because you had your first, we did our first session a few weeks ago, and it's a the way you've set it up is a great thing. And we did a one-on-one in one of the breakout rooms. And the couple that I was talking to have been thinking for a year to start this. So a year they've been sitting back saying, yeah, we should do this, we should do this. They have all their ducks in a row, but they just weren't ready to pull the trigger,
The
whatever. So
mindset.
yeah, their mindset just wasn't there. And then we had a conversation afterwards, and they've gone out and bought a property now. So it sometimes it just takes that little push,
Push.
especially with the first one. I think because it is scary. I mean, I think back to the very first house I bought, and it is scary. But like I say, you do have to, at some point you have to make that leap and understand. Like I always just look around and go, like, all these houses are here and people have to live somewhere. So that's the biggest thing for me is people have to live somewhere. So
Mhm.
yeah.
100%. Yeah, I think if you're going to invest in anything, I mean, everyone needs to find a place to live, right? And I think even again, like let's say the scarcity mindset is, oh my God, we're in a depression, for example, we're a recession, whatever it is, like you shouldn't buy. Where to me, it's like that's the best time to buy because I mean, everyone like people are losing their houses. They need a place to stay. And let's say right now already, I mean, when the economy is very good already, Canada needs more rental properties, and that's
Yeah.
why, you know, the prices of rents go up, up, up all the time. And then if you're going into depression, just even more, right? And then what makes it even nicer is that because we're all kind of lowering in our standards, like the upper middle class becomes middle class because middle class goes into poverty. Then what happens is you're getting much better tenants for your property, because if your house was like, let's say, a middle class type of house, you'd be getting upper middle class people into your property. So it's just like that, keeping your mind open and realizing what are the actual opportunities in the circumstances that you're in.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. I think that's a good point because yeah, if the market, if there's a downturn with the market, then more people are going to be renting, right? So the hard part is to I guess mitigate that fear kind of thing because when people should be buying, like when people aren't buying is when you should be buying, right? So when everybody's not buying, that's the hardest time for people to wrap their head around the fact that now is the time I should be buying, because the price of houses might, still go down, but it's still a good time to get in. The best time to always just whenever you're ready to buy, like whatever your needs are, right? There's people that move now, there's people that move at all different times. It just depends what your family needs are, what your own personal needs are. So,
Mhm.
I mean,
And your
I don't,
strategies, right? Like what
yeah,
criteria do you need to hit to make sure your risk tolerance that if you have a very low risk tolerance, that you're meeting it. So you
yeah,
feel super safe that, okay, this is a great idea, because I'm getting this much cash flow. And, even if we go down a little bit, and I'm still covered. Although again, that only happen if they leave, because
yeah,
I mean, once the rent is there. But like there's just so many ways to approach things. And again, it's all about mindset. It's all about making just again being, and also just being creative, right? If something happens, just finding like a way to solve it, right? And there's always many ways to solve things. You can be so creative in the real estate world,
yeah.
to get whatever you need to get done.
Who do you think? I just ask you, like, who do you think are the people who end up being investors? Like, what's typically their mindset at the beginning, from what you see?
Um, like full on real estate investors, because I have like two definitions. I have
Okay,
like the landlord
yeah,
and the real estate investor. And so to me, a landlord is to just buy a property here or there. But they don't think about, like, they think about the future money. You're not thinking in a business sense, right? You're thinking, especially in the GTA, right? You're like, I can't cash flow in the GTA, so I'm working on appreciation. In
right,
10, 15 years, I will be making cash flow. In 10, 15 years, if I decide to sell, I'll be making money off the house when I sell it. Whereas like a real estate investor, you're treating your real estate as a business, right? So in a business, you have to be cash flowing on day one,
yeah, yeah,
like if your
exactly,
business is negative, and this is that's very hard. You can only last so long when you're dealing in negatives, right? Especially if you're doing something like this full time, like you need to treat it like a business.
yeah,
So if you're treating it like a business, I would say that the your mindset is like, you have to have, or I feel like this is important to have, like having a creative mind, like being a problem solving mind, right?
yeah,
um and like that, and with that being open, right? Because you'll hear different kind of strategies or different solutions that are not normal to, let's say, the landlord type of people, because they're just used to the general, like, I just get paid, and these things happen where you start getting in the entrepreneurship world, you start becoming very creative, right? Very important. So to me, it's those kind of people are the ones, like, that very entrepreneur mindset is very important, because I mean, that's what it is. Whenever you're starting any kind of business, your mind has to be open to different solutions to, yeah, I have a problem, but there is also a solution. I just need to find it.
Yeah. How do you let me see. How do you keep how do you evaluate like an opportunity, and how do you not I don't not specifically how do you evaluate it in terms of like A,
The
B, C, and
numbers.
D. I just mean, yeah, like from a perspective of like a big picture perspective, I guess is what I'm thinking more of, like a big picture perspective of how to invest in real estate and where you want to go with it. Like, I think we need to have, like, if you're going to get into investing in real estate, and like you say, as a business, you got to look at this like a business. Where do I want this to go? How do I want this business to grow? And where do I want it to be, let's say in 5 years from now? What do I want at the end of the day? I think that's a big part of the mindset, right? Is to figure out what's your ultimate goal with this? What are you trying to achieve at the end of the day? And where do you want to be in a year from now or 5 years from now? How do you evaluate if you're getting there, right? I mean, a number
Hmm.
of ways you can do that, but how do you look at that in terms of a long-term goal, right? Because if I was going to invest in a business of some sort, I would have a long-term plan. There's no difference here, right? There's no difference.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. It's the exact same thing. So you would be setting, exactly what you said, you're like your long-term goal. And usually I feel like the easiest way to start with is money, right? Like
yeah,
how much money do I want to be making at, maybe 20 years from now? What do I want to be making? Like if I have a job right now and I want to quit to go full time into real estate, you're having to find out your milestones and what are the goals, right? And at what number do I feel comfortable to actually quit my job, do this full time, or even quit my job and just have my little properties there doing its thing and I can go travel the world. Like again, it really depends on people's goals, right? Because some
yeah,
people are like that. Like I know a few people that I have my 14 houses, I'm set, I'm happy, I'm done.
yeah,
I'm done and I just want to enjoy the money that I get from these properties, right? Others are I want to quit my job. I want to, get hardcore into my business and grow this even more, make it bigger, like, have 100, 200, 500 properties under my belt, right? So it really depends on the goals. And I feel like thinking about money is probably the easiest way because if you have that, okay, I would like to be making 10,000 a month, then you're like, okay, now your next question is what strategies do I have to do to make 10,000 a month?
yeah,
Right? What is available in the real estate world that I can make 10,000 a month, right? And in what time frame is it going to take me to get to 10,000 a month? Because again, there's so many different strategies and maybe 10,000 a month is your final number, right?
yeah,
So you think like all I need is 10,000 a month within 5 years, or maybe you're like I need 10,000 a month within a year. Then you're obviously picking different kind of strategies, right?
yeah,
Right? If you're doing long-term wealth, then you're probably picking rental properties, right? If you're thinking I need quick cash now, then you're probably going into flips, you're probably going into assigning properties, you're going into like different types of other strategies that help you bring money in quicker, right?
yeah. So at the end of the day, you need a goal to be striving towards, right? You have to have a plan and how you're going to get there, and what. So if you do your research in terms of what kind of cash flow you're going to get from different opportunities, that'll help you get to your end goal. But how important do you think it is? How important are the people that you surround yourself with in this in going down this path of real estate investing?
Very, very important.
Yeah,
Having other entrepreneurs, other real estate investors around you is what pushes you to go further, right? Because even just like that, like you and I will have a conversation. You'll tell me something that I didn't know, and we're always learning from each other. Or just even like oh you bought a property, I bought a property, like just even talking about what each person is doing because it helps you to motivate you, right? Because you see, for example, you may be down, you're like, man, I can't seem to find a house,
yeah,
all these people are buying houses, and then you're talking with people, and then everyone's sharing their knowledge and saying, oh, why don't you try in this city I found a property, or why don't you try this technique or that technique, and and it just helps you, right? Or maybe just even it depends on the person. Maybe that the fact that you heard like 5 of your friends bought a property, that's like, you know what? Like I gotta get moving. Like these guys bought it, I need to buy it, right? So sometimes you just need, it's like it depends on who you are, but you need to surround yourself with those kind of people because um if you don't, you're kind of on your own doing it, and it's very hard to do anything on your own. Even like that, like even if you decide like I want to do real estate, let's say on my own, you're never really on your own because again, like you need your community around you to at least give you that like mental support, that like you can do this, like you got this, like, oh, you need help to find a lawyer here. I use this person, he's good. Or, just even little things like that become very, very helpful. So you want to be around those people because they bring they tell you like what is really going on. If you're talking, for example, someone who's never invested in real estate, like they don't get it. So they wouldn't really be able to, let's say, give you advice,
Yeah.
because they just don't know what they're really talking about. They're only speaking to what they hear on the news or what they hear from their other friends or maybe other people who had bad experiences. But you want to be speaking with people that are in it right now, doing it right now. What are the strategies? What are you guys doing? Like how do we, like, how do I make this work? Whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think there's so many ways to make it work, and because each person is so different, there's every approach is different, right? There's never just one approach on how you should do this. Every approach is totally different in terms of what your comfort level is and what your end goal is. So there's a lot of different factors that you got to take into account. So what is it you want to achieve at the end of the day? Are you looking for, what are you more comfortable with? Because sometimes people will buy rental properties and then realize I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to do it this way. Well, there's still other ways to invest in real estate that don't involve just having, one tenant in your property. There's a lot of different ways to invest in real estate, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's rental, there's vacation properties, there's student housing, and in student housing, even in itself, encompasses such a wide range, right? Because there's private houses you can buy that are student housing, but there's also student housing that you can invest in. There's condos
Even
where you get
private
it.
lending like
Yeah,
that. You don't want to be a landlord. Or in my case, I like to private lend for the fact of there's so many really good deals out there that I don't get,
right.
but I get to see it and they show me the deals and I'm just like, I want to be involved. If I can
Yeah,
at least be involved as a private lender or in other ways as a passive partner, at least you're there. I mean, as a private lender, you're not a landlord. A passive partner, you may be, depending on
yeah,
how you strategize the JV agreement. But
yeah,
but um but yeah, it's just again like what are your goals and then figuring out what is the strategy that will meet that goal. Like I don't want to be a landlord. Okay, here are your options, right?
yeah. I actually love that part of it, what you just said about private lending, because that's a great way to get into real estate investing without actually being the person who buys the property, but you're still involved in the private lending side of it. So
Mhm.
there's so many opportunities there, right? And even if you can't do it on your own, there's ways to kind of get in. Like I had a conversation with a young man on that group call that we did, and he's dying to get into real estate, but he said, I'm working with a contractor, but I don't have money to put in. And I said, well, have you ever considered that your time could be your investment in the property, right? So
Mhm.
there's so many different ways that you could get involved, right? Like, yeah, if you've got a skill to do around houses, I mean, a lot of people can renovate houses or have the skill to do some work in the house. That could be your investment in the house, right? Like instead of saying, okay, you paid me this much money while I work, why not invest that? And instead of getting paid that certain amount of money, you're going to get that plus a portion of what the house sells for at the end of the day. That's a great way to get in. So there's a lot of different ways to get in. Like, if you have a group of people, if you don't have enough money to do it yourself, get a group
Cool.
together where you can pool your money together and buy properties like that. There's so many opportunities, and there's so many different places. So it all goes back to the same thing that we said before. Like if you have that mindset that there's opportunities, how am I going to do this? Let me talk to other people who've done this in the past and figure out how to do it, right? And
Mhm.
you'll figure out a way how to do it. I mean, there's lots of times where there's one investor who's looking to buy a property, there may be a little bit short on money, and you could get in that way, right? And, you know, put a little bit of money in and kind of work it up. But yeah, there's so many opportunities. There's always opportunities for
Yeah,
sure.
there's tons of different ways to get involved, and I think a good way for a person to, I guess, analyze themselves to decide in what way they want to get into real estate is um, basically how much money do you have, how much time do you have, are the two things you want to think about, right? If you're, for example, fresh out of university, fresh out of high school, you're like, I'm broke, I have no money, you work for free. You know, learn the skills, learn to put the tiles down, learn to, you know, do renovations, or you learn maybe to be a realtor. Like, you learn something, do it for free. I mean, you don't have money, you might as well start building up the skills. If you have money, then you go like that. I want my money to make money. So you know what? Here, private land, here, passive partner, right?
Yeah.
If you're like a little bit of both, where you're like, you know what, I like real estate, I want to put time into it, but I also want to be making some passive income on the side, then you do a little bit of in between. So I think the best way to start even just thinking about what you want to do is like that. How much money do I have? How much time do I have? Or not even have, but how much time do I want to give to this?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that starts really narrowing down. Okay, now that I know this, you know, like I have 100K. You know what? Maybe I'll just invest that 100K, and that's it. You know, I'm happy with making, you know, like, I don't know, $1,000 a month, not that much, but you know, like, let's say,
Yeah.
I don't know, $500 a month, you know, that like satisfies me. Or you're like, no, maybe not, maybe I'd rather um you know, also get a little bit involved and be more, let's say, like on the flipping side or something, and get more involved. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at least from there, it kind of starts helping you narrow down what are the different strategies available to you now that you know what you want to give money wise, what you want to give time wise.
Yeah. Time wise is a big one, because I think we underestimate that one, right? On investing your time in the property. So like I was saying, if there's work that you can do there, and investing your time is a great way to get into a property,
Mm-hmm.
especially, you know, to just build that up, and then maybe, you know, you can build it up to keep going on the properties. But you have to really have an open mind and be open to different opportunities. And some people will think, well, I'm not gonna do this for free, whatever. But if you have, that's, to me, would be kind of like a scarcity mindset, right? Well, I'm not going to do this for free. You're not doing it for free. You're investing that. It's no different than investing your
Yeah.
money and using
Yeah,
it,
it's
using it
basically
more
you're
time.
getting trained and you don't even have to pay for it. I mean, you went to college or university to pay thousands of dollars
Yeah.
to get in. Here, you're not having to pay anything and you're getting educated on, for example, how to renovate houses, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe like that, you may do free for a little bit and then, you know, and then afterwards, then the person's like, I want to hire you on. You're amazing. I need to have you on my team. And then
Yeah.
they bring you on, right? Or maybe you do just start working in it. You start finding like a renovation company. Hey, hire me, right? It's
Yeah.
just, again, it really depends. I feel like when you're working for free, to be honest, you do the best kind of learning.
Yeah.
That's why I say free, because I feel like when you're working for free, you're doing it because you want to do it.
Hmm.
And when you want to do it, you're like, it's your passion, you're enjoying it, you're happy, and you're learning the most and getting the most out of your experience.
Yeah. And I don't know if free is the right word to use, because I mean, you're investing your time, and you're gonna get that back, right? I mean,
Hmm.
if you earn to learn, if you learn to earn, you know, it makes a big difference, because you're just getting that, all that experience that goes with it. And it's, I mean, there's something about, you know, buying a property, especially when you're doing like maybe a flip, and seeing that transformation of how the property looks, and then eventually being able to go into a property and seeing a finished product, right? Because that's, not everybody can do that. And I think that part of it is really exciting to me, like seeing a property and being able to envision what it could be doing at the end of the day, right? Whether that's a flip, or whether that's, you know, turning it into a different type of property, you know, maybe 2 or 3 units, whatever. But some of that's really exciting, and in every way, right? Like whether it's commercial, residential, whatever it is, that part of it's neat to see it evolve, and go through the stages and end up where it should be at the end. That's super exciting to me. I love that part of it. Talk a little bit about your community, because I think that community is really it's great, and we'll be doing more of those. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what it is and um, when it is and stuff, and maybe there's people that would want to join that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone that wants to join, I have a real estate community, and it's on Facebook. And basically, just to even let people know how it started was I had a JV partnership that went terribly wrong, and it made me realize that and in the community that I was in for real estate, which I'm still a part of the community, it was very optimistic and it was very like, just do it. You can get it done and this and that. And I think I got caught up in the hype of the excitement of it. And don't get me wrong, I did look the guy up, but I think what happened was he was because this guy was like doing a house every month. So I think, and then obviously when you're doing a house every month, you do overlaps. I mean, overlaps tend to happen, right? Because you think you're going to finish it in a month, but then some kind of delay happens or whatever. So then basically my property got neglected. And then because of this happening, and then the over optimism in the community that I was in, and not enough experts, is where my community kind of just evolved. Was because then I brought on a show that was called Re Behind the Scenes, and Re Behind the Scenes was to talk about, like flips and stuff are fun, but problems happen. And so it's showing like, okay, what are the numbers? What are the numbers for this burr? How did it go? What problems came up? How did you solve it? So that even that people can learn from other people's mistakes. So then that's how Re Behind the Scenes came up. And same thing, I have another show called Ask the Experts, where same thing, a lot of people are scared, like, oh, I don't want to talk to a lawyer. They're going to charge me money. I don't want to talk to this person. They're going to charge me money, where this place is like a safe place for people. Like we bring on a lawyer on a specific topic, let's say private lending, and then and then the audience can ask their questions about private lending. And then so then that show or that's more of a meetup, because it's everyone's live, and everyone's just, chatting with each other, or I mean, everyone's asking the guest speaker questions. And then like that, because like you said, mindset is so important. And I think the reason why I started going a lot faster was because I started working on my mindset. And then that's how transformation time came, was because I understand how important personal development is. And it was something that I just, like, all these things I wanted to share with everyone, like I want people to understand, like, real estate is so much fun, but like there will be problems, but it's okay as long as you're always learning and having that problem mindset, and like running your numbers, and at least in this view you see what's realistic, like what really happens, and it's not like always sunflowers and whatever. And then because of these shows, like my community started building. And then like that now, Sandy and I are doing a networking event once a month. We're having a networking event, or same thing. This one will be more formal speaking, so not like Ask the Experts, where it's more of an informal Q&A. This one will be more of either panelists that we have on, like the last one was panelists, where we're speaking on a specific topic. So that was like the market, how it is right now, and what we forecast. Or we're talking on a specific topic, like this month is going to be about mindset and performance. And then so we do a 1 hour speaking segment. This month is about mindset and performance. And then afterwards, you get to do a networking session with all the attendees. And if you get a VIP ticket, then you also get to speak with experts too, and you get to pick who you want to talk to. So, and it's a lot of fun because it's kind of like speed dating. So you get 5 minutes with each person, and you're just like, go, 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 meeting all these people. People get flustered, and they found, it's kind of fun. Like, it's fun, and like, kind of like, I don't know, it's like a fun experience. Like, a lot of people enjoyed it. We did it last month. People enjoyed it so much that they asked to have it. So now we're going to do it monthly.
Yeah. I thought it was great, actually. And I think and there's so many different perspectives on real estate. So I find that kind of fascinating when you hear different perspectives from people. And that's why it's like so much fun, I think, is you can just build out your own, you can build out however you want this to look, right? There's no real right or wrong way to do this. It's just, how do you want this to look at the end of the day? What are you trying to accomplish and how are you going to get there? And that to me is really exciting, right? So I get super excited when young people invest in real estate, because I just think it's such a great, such a great opportunity. And once you start in, I mean, most people that I know, once you start investing in real estate, it almost becomes addictive, right? And you just love it and figure out what's your own path through this, right? How do you want this to look? Because some things you're just way more comfortable. Like for me, I'm just more comfortable with real estate than I am with, like, let's say the stock market. I don't know much about the stock market. I don't invest in the stock market on a big level, but and some people are very scared to invest in real estate. Because I think it goes back to like what I said at the beginning. Like people think, okay, I'm spending $500,000 or $700,000, but
Or the
that's
other way
not what you're
around. I'm
doing.
going into debt $500,000.
Right.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And you're not really, like, basically your investment is whatever you're putting into it, right? It's the same like when people sell a house. So let's say you buy a house and you put 100,000 down, and you're invest in, and it's a $600,000 house. I'm just pulling numbers out, for instance. And then you sell that house for, let's say you put 50,000 into it and you sell that house for 800,000. Like you have to understand that your investment was 100,000. Your investment was not 600,000, right? So you've made good return on your investment if you look at the return on investment, right? Where else would you get kind of a return on investment like that? That's a really hard thing to do. So the opportunities are just magnificent, I think. And it's fun, and rewarding. I think that's a really big part of it too, right? So I love that. I love that part of it. And I love when young people invest in real estate. I think it's the smartest move that you can make because of the return that you can get long term,
Mm-hmm.
So.
And like that, even if your goal isn't to, let's say, work in real estate, but now you've made enough money through real estate where you've given yourself your freedom to do the things that you really love to do in life. Maybe you want to have time to help people. And now you have, you're making, let's say, 10,000 a month, where now you have the time to, go and do the things, that you would really like to do that you couldn't with a 9-to-5 job that is just, tiring you out every day. And it's a 9-to-5 isn't something that you can really like save a whole bunch of money or make a whole bunch of money like that. Like you have rental properties, you're making, let's say, 10,000 a month, and now, okay, you have 10,000 a month, but it's doing its own thing. You're not there having to make 10,000 a month,
Yeah. So do you want to tell people, or we can put it in the chat later on how, or the link for the next networking event if people are interested. Put that in there, and if people have any questions, we can certainly get back to them and let them know. But I think when's the next networking event? Maybe you can let everyone know when that is.
So at the next event's on April 29th. And so what we're going to do is, like, going forward each month, it's going to be the last Thursday of every month, just to make it easy to remember.
Okay.
And and it starts at 7, like the speaking segment starts from 7 to 9. But usually we have at 6:45 people can start coming in, so you can register and just make sure everyone's ready, so that everyone's ready to go at 7 for the speaking segment.
Okay. So what's the biggest, tell me, what do you think is the biggest barrier to people getting into the real estate market or getting into real estate investing? What's the biggest barrier?
Money mindset.
Money mindset. Yeah.
People don't ever think, I don't have money. You don't need to have money to get into real estate, but you probably then need to put a lot of time in to get to real estate. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, like $1 million home, like all the houses are now in the GTA probably hitting $1 million very easily now. Oh my God, $1 million, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
It's all about money, which is really funny, because for some reason people think as money as being the start of what causes everything, but money is actually like the result. So it's more of, if you need $1 million, okay, that's your end goal, that's the result. Now you need to figure out how to get there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we've really touched on that already, on how to get there, how to end up getting to where you want to get. But a money mindset, yeah, because a lot of us don't grow up with good financial literacy, right? And I think that's a big part of it. Because
Or
I know
just
myself.
even different things, like, for example, rich people are evil.
Yeah.
Right now, it's like, oh my God, I am a good person. I'm a nice person. I do not want to be rich because a rich person is evil. Like, now you've again set your mindset as you're never going to be rich because now you think that only evil people are rich, right?
Yeah.
So just like, what is it? Like, the root of all evil, money is the root of all evil. You
Yeah.
know, same thing. That just sets that sets a bad standard, right? Whereas, for example, like, the actual saying for that is, the love of money is the root of all evil, which is
Yeah.
true. If you're a very greedy person, that is not a good thing, but that doesn't mean that money itself is evil. It's the intentions behind the money that cause, the positive or negative out of things. Like, if you're an evil person, yes, money will help you become more evil. If you're a positive, helping, generous person, money just gives you more abilities to be even more giving and more helpful to other people.
Yeah. 100%. I totally agree with you. I saw something like that yesterday about how money doesn't make you a bad person. It exposes you. So if you're already a jerk, you're just going to be more of a jerk, and if you're already a nice
Exactly.
person, you're going to be more of a nice person. But I mean, you can do so. I always say, like, options are good, right? The more options you have, the better. So having the ability to decide what you're going to do with your life and what you're going to do with money that you have, the more options you have, the better.
Yeah.
So
And just thinking like that, like, even if you have money, for example, you can invest in your health. Because if you don't have a good health, for example, you're going to be miserable. You're going to
yeah,
be sick all the time. Like, that's another stereotype. Like, what is it? You can, I don't remember it exactly, but like, it's either like, I'd rather be happy than rich, I think is what it is, right? And it's like, why, for example, that's a thing of entrepreneurship is, or people problem solving people, like, we don't have this mentality that it's one or the other. You can have both, right? And even, I mean, in that case, that just doesn't make any sense, right? Because if you want to be happy in life, you need to be healthy. You need to be physically healthy. You need to be mentally healthy. And in the world we live in, you have to have money to be able to buy the good food. You have to have the money to go and maybe get to a gym or go into a sport or whatever it is. Like, everything we do in life is money related, right? So it's just kind of like, it's not like you're happy or you're rich.
yeah,
It's you can, like, it's not related. It's like saying, like, either you can have a hand or a foot. You're like, what? I need both. Thank you very much.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. And you know what? I've been in both situations where, I mean, now I'm blessed that I'm lucky, but I've worked hard to get there, and I've been in the situation where I've had no money. And I mean, that could be a whole segment that we do one day, is about how I grew that, and you as well, how you grew your business. And having no money sucks. That's all I'm going to say, because then you don't have any options, and it doesn't help you. But you gotta just figure out ways to make it work, and there's always ways to make it work. I was thinking today that, like, I think books are probably the number one way to learn and grow. Right? Just get a book like Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's an amazing book. And Tony Robbins' Money Master the Game. Like, I thought that was a phenomenal book that taught me a lot about financial literacy, and kind of, going down that path of learning financial literacy, because a lot of times we don't learn that as a child. And I think learning that is huge. Just learning about money, learning about mindset, learning about how to make good decisions. I don't know if you can hear that banging. Can you hear that banging?
Yeah, that's
Is it
okay.
really annoying? It's because I think the boiler system is under my unit, so when they turn it on, it sounds like someone's banging on the pipes. Anyway, I'm really sorry. Um,
That's okay.
it's the cheer squad banging on the pipes. Anyway, no, but that whole, like, reading books, right? I think to me, that's just the key is
Yeah. And
reading
just to
books and
even
learning.
add on to that is just what is learning, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, you read the book, but to learn it, you need to take action in what you do,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
it's like reading is, for example, all or what it's is just data collection. But what is data collection? What is its purpose, right? Like
Yeah.
learning, you need to, yes, gather the data, but you need to take action on the data that you learn, right? So it's
Yes.
like if you're
Yes.
doing mindset, you need to practice what they tell you in the books. You know,
Yeah.
if you're learning about real estate, you need to go and implement what they're telling you so you learn and you learn what is good for you. Yeah, maybe this book doesn't work for me. It's not my strategy, it doesn't work, but you've implemented it, you've taken action and you're like, this isn't really for me. I need to go this route, read this different book or that different book or mix them all up, you know, make a
Yes. Yeah.
muddle of all of them.
Yeah, and you don't have to do everything. Like I used to make that mistake, read a book and think I had to do everything. But if you could take 1 or 2 points out of it to kind of find your own path on how that works. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you said take action. Like that's the biggest thing is just take some form of action, whether that's calling somebody that you know that's already an investor, calling a mortgage broker and educating yourself about financing, calling a private lender to find out, because people get afraid of private lending and you shouldn't. It's just it sometimes you need to go private lending. Is it going to cost you more money? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you're going to end up where you want to end up. That's okay, right? I
Yes.
think
And what
that's
is fear, anyways? What is fear? The lack of knowledge. So if you have fear, it's
yeah,
good because you need to go and find out the information for that. Because
yeah,
once you have the information, there's no more fear.
right. Absolutely. You're right about that. That's a good one. So, okay, we're going to wrap this up, but I think that's a great note to finish off on. What is fear, right? What is fear? Fear is lack of knowledge. And once you learn a little bit, take just take action. Just take action in some form, whatever way that is. I think that's really great advice for people. So we're here to answer people's questions, of course, about real estate investing. And I look forward to seeing you again next week, Diana, where we're going to talk about more about the market conditions and what's going on right now, which is a hot topic. What is going on in the real estate market? What's going to happen with this real estate market, especially here in Ontario? So that'll be a very interesting one. We'll have some stats and we'll have some information about what is actually going on in the real estate market. So,
Awesome.
what any closing remarks that you'd like to say?
Take action, guys. Come
Absolutely,
join
take
our
action.
networking event.
Yes,
There's your action.
perfect. Yeah, that is a good action. Okay, so we'll put that in the chat later, and we'll get that out on Facebook as well. And look forward to seeing everybody there. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. It was nice to see everyone. Thank you, Sandy.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.